Hello, class. Greetings from Fort New Blanket. I got the COVID booster yesterday, and I'm feeling kind of crummy, and I'm doing the next logical step in my recovery, which is, of course, to build a fort blanket. So this is a tradition that I've had since I started getting the COVID vaccines, especially after the second one. I felt pretty terrible. I didn't feel so bad after. I didn't even notice the first one at all. And after I've gotten Moderna all the way through. The one that I got recently is also Moderna. I think theirs is the best, basically from the research I've done. And their dose is higher, the delivery system is better, so it's just more stuff. And I am having an immune response. So this, in a way, is a good thing because it shows that my immune system is very strong and robust. And it shows also that I have resistance to COVID. I've never tested positive for COVID. I'm still a novid, as I think they're called. So I don't know, and I don't exactly live the life of a hermit, so I'm not high risk, but I do things like travel and go to the gym that would put me at risk for it. But anyways, sorry if this video is a little longer than most, because I'm also talking about my vaccine. This booster shot hit me pretty hard. I think it's still easier than the second shot. So if you did the ones in series, especially Moderna seems to have the worst side effects. The second shot of Moderna I had was really rough. This one's a little different because it hit me faster. I started feeling the symptoms about 2 hours after the booster. It normally takes 12 hours, and they've changed a little. Like initially, I had a sore arm and felt a little fatigued, and then last night I woke up at 3 in the morning with kind of feeling feverish and kind of body aches all over. This morning I went into work today, and I was just kind of feeling just kind of tired and headachy, and now I'm still kind of feeling the same. Just kind of comes up and down in waves. So, which is the way I feel usually when I'm sick. And kind of goes back to when I was a kid. When I was sick, I would normally, build a blanket fort and watch The Price is Right. I don't know if I'm showing my age there, but that's what I did. So, in an Edenic sense, I built a blanket fort, and so here I am in my blanket fort talking to you guys. This is Fort New Blanket. It is named such because yesterday I went to Costco and I bought a new blanket. So it is the primary, well, I wouldn't say the structure. The structure of this blanket fort is chairs and TV trays. But the primary fabric, or I should say only fabric, of this blanket fort is from the new blanket that I got at Costco. But in Fort New Blanket, we have a few rules. One of them was you never lie. There's no lying in Fort New Blanket. And also, you have to tell a story. So my story to you today is about artificial intelligence in the lab, chemical lab specifically, and the ethics of it. So I'm sure everyone at this point in time has heard about ChatGPT. So for science, we've been using machine learning and AI quite a bit. And generally speaking, what they do is well, AI specifically, it's really good at predicting things. Machine learning is very similar. I don't know exactly how. I know that they are interrelated somehow. Well, AI is machine learning, I think, what it is. It's kind of like an intuition, is one of the best ways to describe how this works. These systems take large numbers of data sets, and then they use it for predictions, and machine learning in some ways can go further in kind of better processes. Machine learning is used for a slew of things. As far as manufacturing, we're starting to use machine learning in manufacturing, and it's going to become an aid for many things. So some of the ways that we're using AI and machine learning, there are lots of good things. You hear of all these evil things. I mean, when you think about AI, many people think about, like, to me, they think about Terminator and Skynet and, the death of humans. And they've experimented for AI things like looking at ear infections, so giving images, medical images, to a machine learning device, and diagnosing things like ear infections. So maybe in the future, if you have an earache, you take your cell phone, take a picture of your ear, and send it in, and then a machine does that. And these days we still have a human check things out. Also, machine learning, they're doing experiments also on things like mammograms and breast cancer. So looking looking at large data sets and seeing if there's ways to more accurately screen massive amounts of data for people for breast cancer and finding new things. So, I mean, you're still going to see it in the medical field. And in chemistry, like I said, we're seeing this a lot. And chemistry is a very broad topic. So we're also using AI. I mentioned manufacturing. So certain semiconductor manufacturing, AI is used to optimize processes, things that deal with layers of things. And as our computer processors are becoming more and more complex, they're becoming more and more 3D. So meaning we're stacking things. So we've gotten to the point in transistors on a two-dimensional loaf of silicon, or the loaf wafer. Sorry, using the wrong words. A plane of silicon. So how do we go more? Well, we start stacking them, and it's a very difficult problem to solve on how to do these processing, optimizing them, and we've been using machine learning to help us with that. And so other various things, crops. So certain areas need more water, certain areas need more fertilizer. So we're looking at employing AI to find out where the optimum place to place water and fertilizer, other than just taking a machine and spraying the whole field. Maybe if this 5% of the field really could use more water, and this other part doesn't need as much, well, then that's savings, because water is becoming more and more of an issue. Chemical fertilizers, adding too many chemical fertilizers can lead to, well, it leads to degradation of topsoil. It just washes away, and that also leads to pollution in waterways. So those are good things that we're using AI for. So, or I should say machine learning. AI is more predictive. ChatGPT is a machine learning machine. It's also an AI. ChatGPT is just really good at predicting what to say next. And it's very eerie. And ChatGPT is really good, right? I mean, but one of the things, though, is AI can also be really stupid. AI has no common sense. And AI also lies. Well, what we would consider to be lying. But the AI just sees it as what you expect it to hear. Like, there's been talks with ChatGPT, and ChatGPT says that it is self-aware. ChatGPT is not self-aware. ChatGPT just thinks you want it to say it's self-aware. That's what its predictive software says. It's not like a consciousness. It's not conscious. It's not self-aware. Like my cats are more self-aware than ChatGPT is. So I mean, that's and as are we. So we're not at the doomsday scenario yet, so don't worry about that. But there are some ethics in this. I mean, because comes into question, and this article is just stories. It's stories about people that use artificial intelligence in the laboratory, and it also mentions someone that said that she was a professor at UC Berkeley, and she's not a professor at UC Berkeley. But then again, that's what, because it sounds good. It sounds good to be a professor at UC Berkeley, right? And she's like, no, I was never a professor at UC Berkeley. So, I mean, that's one thing. And so if you do use ChatGPT, use it as a tool. Think of it like a calculator. right? And sometimes you put the wrong numbers in your calculator, get the wrong answer. Same thing as with ChatGPT. If you're using it for your classes, you can get the wrong answer. And I myself, I know a lot of people are upset about AI. I think it's great. I think this is the next thing. I think we should embrace it. So and we are embracing it in science. I mean, there are lots of things where like it's just wonderful to have a computer. Sequencing proteins is one of them. I mean, they're looking at using proteins they want to start making proteins, and also they're also looking at protein-like structures that use hydrocarbons instead of proteins. Protein is it's a polyamide. It's basically like nylon. Right? You have amino acids, and the chemical nature of protein is very similar to the synthetic compounds of nylon. And we've done some research on looking at using hydrocarbons as the backbone rather than a polyamide like proteins, like nylon. And AI is great for that because it can help predict, like, okay, so this is what it should look like, and those molecules work really well. Well, I mean, there are some drawbacks on these molecules that use hydrocarbons instead of amino acids. Amino acids are pretty easy to break apart, whereas if you have a condensation polymer or an addition polymer, well, I guess no, a polyamide is a condensation polymer. I'm sorry, an addition polymer like polyethylene or something like that. The bonds are harder to break. Where a polyamide, you can break them and take them apart. So that's what we do in digestion, right? You eat your fish or your soybean or meat, whatever your source of protein is, and your stomach digests it, turn it back into amino acids, reforms the protein in your body, right? So, but other things we've used AI for is shapes of molecules. So taking proteins that do certain things, and the AI can help to calculate the shape of, so you have an amino acid chain, and then you throw it in the computer, and it puts the 3D structure, and that's amazing. That's great. I mean, it would take a human so much time to do that. Like, to train a human to do that, it would probably take that person, I'd imagine, several weeks to do that, whereas a computer can do it in like an hour. Right, so I mean that's a great multiplier of productivity, and then if you start doing predictive what it should look like to change the function, again, this is AI being stupid. So AI doesn't understand everything. A human right now who's training this it's like, oh, that's a good idea, computer, but we need to change the structure a little bit more this way. We got to sculpt it a little bit this way. So it's kind of like the humans help in the aid of the sculpting of it. So, I mean, wonderful things that AI that are doing things. And so I like to embrace it, like I said. But this is interesting. And in ChatGPT, I do have a prediction, though. And I'm saying this as an educator. I think ChatGPT is going to cause the end of the OER, the open resources for education. Just because eventually we're going to have AI, and we're pretty much almost there. You can get all the answers to problems. AI is getting to the point that it can solve chemistry problems. We've had computers that can solve math problems for a long time, right? I mean, MATLAB can solve pretty much any integral that you use in freshman and sophomore level calculus, right? But I mean, we're still teaching freshman and sophomore level calculus, even though we could more or less just use the computers to solve everything, right? So it's not the end for education like some of my colleagues think, but I think it's going to change the way that we do education. I mean, we've changed the way we do education with cell phones already, right? So I mean, this is just the next thing we have to adapt. But I think as far as doing homework and writing things, that I think that the textbook companies are going to find a workaround to it. with these things like ChatGPT and other AIs that solve problems, and whereas the open source materials are not going to have the fixes, or they'll be too slow, and then because of it, it's going to be, I guess it might be a little bit more money for you students. So the point is, get out of college now, get your degree as soon as you can, before that starts happening. That's me. That's where I think things are going to go. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, I don't know. That's just my own opinion. So hopefully you enjoyed the article, and hopefully you've enjoyed your time with me in Fort New Blanket. And I'll let you know. I'm making this on Wednesday. I like to send these out on Thursday, so I'll kind of give you an update, just because in case you want to get the booster, what to expect. I don't have a terrible reaction to them, but I certainly have a reaction to the vaccines. So and this one, like I said, what's different about this one is the speed at which it hit me. Usually I get at least a 12-hour break before I start feeling symptoms, but I felt it within 2 hours. So and like I was functional today, and I took a nice nap in the afternoon, and woke up, feeling like I didn't feel great when I woke up. Let's just say that. So it's kind of like, when you get a mild flu or something like that, you wake up like, oh no, why am I alive? Kind of feeling. I'm being dramatic. It's not that bad, but it's it's not the world's most pleasant thing. Well, I'm gonna go back to watching Netflix on my iPad and Fort New Blanket, so I'm going to sign off for now. And sorry for the longer message today, but I was feeling kind of goofy and talkative because I'm not feeling well. Anyways, hope you're doing exceedingly well. Oh, and some other news. Not surprisingly, turns out anxiety is on the high. And I myself am fairly anxious, so it's not surprising that since the pandemic, anxiety has increased dramatically, by a factor of 4 for people. So I mean that for all mental health. So if you are having issues, of course, if you're having issues for basic needs, I can report back to you that a student did come to me, and I got connected him with some emergency services to help with some things. So there was a success there, and those are, like I said, those are usually the easiest ones to solve. The harder ones to solve are mental health issues. But if you are having issues with mental health, please let me know. I'll do what I can. And also, I hope you're happy. People never say, "Are you happy?" Well, I'm asking, "Are you happy?" And if you're not, let's try to change that. So, aloha now from Fort New Blanket. I better stop talking.